Hello, just me today. Megan's at work. Decided to do a video real quick. Well, not real quick, but anyway. Um, I've been asked several times why the DS instead of the gastro bypass. You whenever you do or thinking about any of these surgeries, whether it be the bypass, the DS, the sleeve, any of them, you need to research. Okay. Um, so I was just going to show you a little bit of the research that I've accumulated over the past year or so. I've been researching it even longer than that, but this is the most recent stuff that I was really looking at when I decided. Also, I'm trying to figure out how to videotape this because I'm just doing it with my phones. Nothing really very technical, but I'm using. You'd probably be laughing if you saw what I was doing. But I'm seeing through another phone what you're seeing because I'm not. You can't change the perspective, whether it be front or rear facing, with the one video file that you're doing. I guess you could merge them. Anyway, this is all technical stuff. But I actually am using my phone because it has the ability to pause, so I can just do this all on one file to send up to the YouTubes. So, all right, without further delay, I'm going to pause for a second and show you the other phone. Yes, I like to be able to pause so I can change things. Oh, or go back to it and move things around. Okay, so this was actually one of the first articles that I read. Gastric bypass, time for a change. I found it. American Medical Association. It was on the JAMA network. There's a lot of really good research that you can look at, but particularly in this article, I liked looking at longevity. In a 2006 study looking at follow-ups after 10 years, they noticed weight loss failures of the gastro bypass of 20% and 34.9% mid-long-term follow-up. Let's see here. Demonstrated that the rates of resolution of diabetes, hypertension, hyperlipidemia, and obstructive sleep apnea were higher after DS than gastro bypass. So I thought that was because I was wondering. I mean, I've been pushed the bypass for a long time, and I came across the duodenal switch. It was never actually presented to me from my surgeon. Actually, it was only through research that I read about it. And between the two surgeries, I wanted to know, okay, what's the long run? What's the story for what's 10, 20 years? What do I look? What's my fortune? So this was an interesting article there's more to it, but I was just trying to summarize it. Okay, let's go on to the next thing. I wanted to cite some of my sources before I get too far. Arya Kashishin, the doctor that you can find here on the YouTubes. He's got a lot of really interesting information about the duodenal switch. He has DS facts. A lot of the pictures and stuff I'm going to be throwing up here are from his website. Just wanted to make sure you knew that. And there's another thing. This was another really good paper that I was reading about the analysis of obesity-related outcomes with bariatric failure rates with duodenal switch versus gastric bypass for morbid obesity. This was I got this off JAMA as well. It was a very good paper. I'm going to show a lot of some of the graphs that I was looking at, and it's a very good paper. I do suggest it. I'm going to put all these links in the description of some of the stuff that I was researching. What I'm going to do is I'm probably going to jump around to a bunch of these graphs and stuff. Let's see here. This one was from that one article from JAMA that I found interesting, where it was looking at weight loss failures. Now, we're just talking about, let's see here, 1 year to 2 year going out. As you can see from this, their findings, the gastro bypass 20% failure rate versus 10% failure rate. And then if you go out farther, the failure rate actually was even less for the DS. 5% versus the 15% there. Here's another one from that one article. Let's see here. The percentage of excess body mass index lost at 6 and 12 months for GP and DS patients. 6 months. As you can see, the gastro bypass actually, according to their findings, actually they're pretty head to head there. But it looks like it's a little bit faster in 6 months. But if you go out that year, the duodenal switch overtakes it a little bit, and it looks like the bypass, slows down. Well, no, I mean, it's still going pretty. It's still out there, but it overtakes it after a year. Of all the charts in that one article, this one's actually probably one of the most important, well, in relation to what I was looking for the comorbidities that I was trying to improve. If you see, GERD, which is your acid reflux, is pretty close, 28% versus the 48%. This is things getting resolved after surgery. But I'm interested in the glucose metabolic resolved or improved. And if you could see, 63 versus 76, and then 75 versus 82. So they're close. But when you're dealing with wanting to do just one surgery, I was looking at it like that, where it's like, well, this one looks like it has the better results. And you don't hear very often, the DS going into bypass, or you know what I mean. This is usually the last surgery option that people go to. Revision. There we go. Yeah. So you got hypertension improving a little slightly better, lipids. So I got this off of Outcomes Calculator. I believe it's Dr. Weiner here on YouTube suggested it. I think it's out of Michigan. I can't remember the exact website. This is just a screenshot. Sorry. You'll have to look at research it a little bit. But anytime if you're going to do this, you can look at it. Outcomes Calculator. You can Google that. This was what I was looking at. Weight loss after a year. I started at 311. Looking at lost. They're thinking after with pretty significant percentage of success. Weight loss after 1 year with 106 pounds or so. Get me down to 204. Oh, I guess it's 3. Oh, I did it from my goal weight, which was 310, but I was off by a pound anyway. Weight loss after 2 years, 195. That's where I'd be. Weight loss 3 year, little bit of regain, 202. But what I was most interested in right here is 97% non-insulin dependent. That's what I was really... Oh, and then, of course, complications. I'm still alive. But you get that with any surgery, really. But if you're interested, I'll show you what I ran it through the RNY, and I did sleeve too, just to compare. Here was sleeve. Let's see here, 231, 234, 243, looking at 243 after 3 years, but you see a little bit less weight loss, 90%, so it's still pretty high even with the sleeve, non-insulin dependent. My goal, of course, was to get off of all kinds of diabetes medicines. So far I'm doing okay. Today it was 116 was my blood sugar. That's again without taking anything, which I've been really happy about. If I was not taking anything prior to the surgery, it would be upper 200s, 300. So that's already an improvement. Let's look at RNY. Here's RNY. Looking at 91%. So it's not actually, according to the predictions outcome, it's not that different than the sleeve actually with 91%. Weight loss 214, 213, 220. So a little bit less, about 20 pounds here or there less. But still still good outcomes, of course. But what I was most interested again is right here. That's I believe almost 10% difference, 1 year post-op. Here's a good anatomy. Moving on to looking at the anatomy, pre-surgery, and then duodenal switch. As you see, and it's all in one picture, so I wanted to throw this one in here. Okay, so the difference in the stomach and then the intestine. Okay, let me go on to another one. Another picture of your normal anatomy. Now here's what Megan had. She had the sleeve. It's right here in the stomach, as you can see. She has that little sleeve right here. I wish I had a little pointer. They cut off that excess stomach, and that's actually removed. But that's what the sleeve is. I believe 80 to 90% of the stomach is removed. But everything else, the intestines are all intact. You still have your pyloric valve right here. You still have all that stuff going on. Alright. So that's the sleeve. And then here's what I had, which was the switch. Now this is just for anybody that doesn't know all of this stuff. With the switch, I had the sleeve as well. So that was the first part of the surgery, is I had Megan's surgery as well. But then right here, I got to keep my pyloric valve right here. That's important. From what I understand, that helps to regulate your blood sugar and all that kind of stuff. A lot of the gastric bypass patients, they don't have their pyloric valve anymore, which, from what I understand, might be one of the causes of the dumping syndrome and all that kind of stuff. So, but specifically, I wanted something that would help me regulate my blood sugar and make it so that it doesn't drop too low. Because that's another problem that I've read, that you can actually get it from either surgery. That's not fair, but I wanted to make sure that I kind of have it be sort of similar to what I had before. And I'll tell you, it does not feel that foreign. I haven't had any problems drinking water. I do get the stomach gurgles, but it's pretty, it feels kind of normal to what I had prior to surgery, actually. But here's what's different from my surgery from Megan's. They bypassed a lot of this intestine. It's still in there. The only thing they took out is that stomach right there. But I still have all of this to help with digestive juices right here. They've been so kind to put that out. And they attached. So again, you still have this. This is all still very similar with the pyloric valve going into that. But then they cut it off and they attached it there. So you have I believe I have the 100 centimeter common channel right here. This is the common channel, and that goes into your bowels and all that. So you have a lot shorter tract. This is the malabsorbed part of the surgery. This is the restrictive, of course, the stomach, and then the malabsorbed. Now, what I was interested about this surgery is that metabolic advantages that they've seen, specifically at this part right here, the different hormones, how that would react to changing the way I process sugar, my insulin resistance. I was hoping that there'd be a change. All right, let's look at the bypass just in case you're wondering. All right, so here is the bypass. Now, you do still you have your stomach still inside you after the bypass, but they make this little size of the egg stomach. This is the stomach pouch. It's a pouch right there. See, it's much smaller. This is the far more common surgery. Let's see here. They do reroute the intestines. You do have a little bit longer intestine right there. But what I wasn't a fan of was right here. The caloric valve is over there. You still, I mean, it's still attached and it helps with that, but you don't have it anymore for part of your major digestive purposes. It still probably can help with some of its juices and enzymes and all that, but it's not regulating your blood sugar like it was when it was attached. As you can see, it's got that's why the RNY, the limb right there. And the other thing that discouraged me from it though is just having that stomach being food and all that stuff doesn't stay in there very long at all. It pretty much just shoots right through. We're talking about it's in there for a minute. But I was reading other, horror stories. Yeah, that's the other thing is you can read horror stories. Some people having problems even just with water or anything like that. I didn't have problem with water because my stomach is more like the sleeve patients, or some sleeve patients wake up and they're like, "Did you even do anything? Did you even do a surgery?" So here, but I just wanted you to see the bypass. And don't get me wrong, the research has shown that the bypass also has wonderful benefits for diabetes remission rates and all stuff. But what I was looking at was just how long it'll last. So anybody that in the comments, if anybody has really great stories and they're out 20 years or whatever, because that's what I was looking at was the long run. The other problem I saw is that there's still a bunch of people out there that go from the bypass over to the DS. So I'd say that sleeve is actually probably one of the best surgeries, which it is the most common one because you have the most flexibility. You can go from the sleeve over to the bypass if you need revision or the DS, whichever. Here's a good all-in-one shot where you got the switch and the bypass with the differences. Yeah, you got a little bit longer intestine there with the bypass. It still has the malabsorption as well because it's not the whole thing, but it does. With the DS, you have a way shorter common channel right here. First over here, you got longer to absorb. But that's probably why it's not as often done, is because they're worried about it looks like you have more of a chance of malabsorption with the switch. So you have to really be on task with your vitamins and protein, all of them really, but that's probably why they don't push it as often as they do the bypass. Okay. Alright, for the next couple of little slide thingies here, this is a lot of this is from the DS Facts. Very, very good website. I got a lot of really good information. First little thing here we're looking at is excess weight loss. And what I like, though, is that they show it over time, too. You got 7-10 years. And looking at this one, let's see here. You got quite the drop-off here at 7 years for the RNY, at 25%. Whereas you see the DS, you're sitting there in your 60s, even for the low end. And then 80s for your high end. of the excessive weight loss that you've been able to keep off. But that's one of the things I was looking at, is the longevity and not just short term. I was trying to avoid revision, you know, just in case insurance didn't want to pay for more than one surgery, which I wonder if a lot of people I run into that. All right, let's look at the next one. And this is one that I was really, really interested in, is the resolution of comorbidities. RNY 84%, hyperlipidemia 97%, hypertension, sleep apnea 80%. Don't have sleep apnea, but I do have all these other ones. But looking at this, 99%, 99%, 83%, 92%. This is all DS facts. You'll have to look at his sources to see where he got all that stuff. But this one's probably one of my favorite, where it's the comparison chart. Excess, oh, sorry if you can't see that very well. Excess weight loss, 76% versus 66%, 50%. Again, the diabetes, hopefully you can see that, 95%, 0.9 for 78%. Even the sleeve, according to this, thing's a little bit higher, 81%. Sorry, it's kind of, I had to blow it up. There you go, that might look a little bit better. See that? There's no revision, reversal, revision, failure. Look at that. They even have the sleeve lower than the bypass with their findings. That's nuts. Oh, is this where... This might be where he has all of his... in the very fine print. So if you're wanting to check his sources, I bet you it's all in here. Okay. But just looking at those stats, I was like, all right. And then if you have a really high BMI, they also, from what I've read, they suggest the switch too. That will be a really good surgery to keep it off, lose more, and then also keep it off for a longer amount of time. Again, I don't know why it's not promoted more or even talked about, really. Again, I didn't get... The only reason why I came across it was through research and finding out about it. It was not promoted whatsoever, and I actually kind of had to fight for it. This is a good little chart that I was showing Megan. I don't know where it's originally from, but I saw it on the Facebook, so it has to be true, right? Yeah, you should always trust whatever you see on the... Just kidding. But in case you're having the little stall thing, was it weeks 2 to 8 or something, or 2 to 7, 2 to 8, somewhere in there, you get a little stall because you're healing. This is kind of what Megan's dealing with right now with her sleeve. They actually told her that she needs to do more calories, which goes against what you'd think. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, that might be easier instead of me trying to do my face. This is Emily. She was so kind to make me very pretty. Anyway, so sorry, this is the longest video we've done. You can check my sources if you do a little bit more research. Always do research, research. I can't stress that enough. This is a real guerrilla showing you what I've seen on my phone. There's tons more, but I was trying to condense it. You have hours upon hours of research, and the videos too. Always check different surgeons here on YouTube. Dr. Weiner is awesome. I like to watch his stuff. Vong was good. But again, both of those surgeons, they don't really talk about the DS. But my favorites probably are he actually talks about the DS. The other guy, they talk about the bypass, and they talk about the sleeve, and they talk about nutrition and all those important things. But I prefer the surgeons to. Oh, I take that back. Vong did talk a little bit about the in one of his videos. He did talk about it. But watch all their videos. I can't stress enough. Read, watch videos. Watch other patients. See how they're doing. So far I'm on day 7, and I'm doing pretty good. As to, I think I've shown why I chose this surgery. The reason Megan got hers is because she did have sleep apnea. I can say that she doesn't snore as much as she did, but that was a lot of it was from weight loss, and I had the same thing before I lost a lot of weight. I would snore. Might have had sleep apnea at the time. I don't know. I didn't do a sleep study for before I lost 100 pounds. I don't know if I put it on here. My heaviest weight was 420. My pre-surgery weight was 311. And I think I probably gained a whole bunch from the fluids. When I had my arm surgery, I gained a good 5 to 10 pounds from all the fluids and the liquids and the swelling and all that stuff. So I imagine I'm in the same ballpark. I don't have my follow-up visit until Halloween. But again, I was kind of looking at different numbers. I know I know that they're linked, but the numbers that I'm really interested in are for diabetes. Oh, in case you're wondering, that's hot sauce from let's see, Smith's Homecoming down in Florida. Disney. Well, is it no? Is it still Disney Springs? Anyway, it's a great, awesome restaurant. Let's see here. I'm getting off track. I can't stress enough. Research, find out what works out best for you. Megan's surgeon Petrosky decided with Megan that was the surgery for her because it had the least complications possible. Mine was very complex. I had to have another surgeon. They had robotics help him out, which made the surgery a little bit longer. They were saying that the robots are great, but they're not very speedy, of course. But as far as I can tell, everything's been doing great. If you have any more questions, I can try. Sorry if this was all choppy. I'm just giving you my 2 cents, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.